These are chart patterns, everybody, in case you're interested. I was just going over some basic chart patterns. They think we're going down. I mean, we have this area here of sellers, so if we can take these guys out, there's a point of control up here that needs to be checked. Regular trading hours at 56.80. We have another one up here at 57.58. So we got to see what we do in this range. This is on the hourly. But yeah, I'll go over some quick chart patterns if you guys want a little bit of an idea of what this is up here. So
Let's do it.
last night's session, we were going over, like patterns that seem to happen time and time again in these markets on all time frames. This one was the one where we took last night and
Order
the
filled.
NQ and the ES. It was an ascending wedge, ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it. So this is where the market is trending up. You get this little bit of topping action, and then you get a breakout and you run all the stops above there. This is a descending triangle, right? The same thing as this, but to the downside. Then we have this one is a bear flag, right? So you're trending down, you get your low relief rally, and then you continue. Okay, continuation.
Order
pattern.
filled.
And then you have the bull flag where you're rallying up, you get your low pullback, and then your continuation, right? So these patterns are they work very well in a strong trending market. These patterns are more like
order
trying
filled.
to consolidate a little bit at a higher low, and then it just takes everything out and continues, right? And then you have this head and shoulders here. So the head and shoulders pattern played out pretty well. I mean, we got about 80% of that move, Jack. Remember when I was talking about 58.15? I think it was last week.
Yeah.
And we had a head and shoulders pattern on the daily.
Order filled.
And then we had the measure move down to 54.20. So we got down, I think, 55.
Order filled.
8 or something like that. So we got about 80% of the move so far.
Order
really
filled.
5400 level before bouncing. But we got about 80% of that move. So that was based on head and shoulders, which is this one. And we have the inverse head and shoulders, or reverse
order
head and shoulders,
filled.
Right? Where
Order
it goes
filled.
the opposite way and it breaks out to the upside. We have our favorite pattern, right? The megaphone, Dolby's favorite pattern. I think everybody's
order
favorite
filled.
pattern. The hardest one to trade, I feel, because when you're a breakout trader, you're buying it and you're getting stopped. And when you're range bound, you're getting long or short against the highs of these range, and then it pops you out and then goes without you. So these are they annoy me personally.
Mm-hmm.
There are effective ways to trade it, right? But you got to recognize it and be able to, act upon it. Then we have these pennant formations, which are these are the consolidation patterns, where we're a big range and then we start to consolidate and we eventually will burst, right, in one of these directions. And then this is a reversal pattern here. So this is probably one of my favorite ones, actually. They don't work all the time. They work better on a longer time frame, I feel. But, when you have the trend, right, and then you bend the trend, trend's your friend, and then it bends, and then it retests the backside of a trend line, and then a reversal. These could be pretty powerful moves when they work. Okay? Nothing works every time. There's no holy grail to trading, right?
Order filled.
Everybody needs to manage their risk. But these could be a pretty powerful pattern. Go back to the 5-minute here. Let's see what the ES is doing. So let's try to find a pattern here, right? So, what's that?
Getting a little bit of action, a little bit selling off here.
Yeah,
building
let's
the
see
same M pattern, perhaps the golden arches. Here's your pullback a little bit.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. It's not deep enough, Jack. It's got to pull back a little deeper because I'm pretty cheap with my risk, so I might miss it. But I need to. I call it the miser method. Try to find the cheapest possible.
Well, what's cheap for you? What are you usually risking in the ES?
Yeah, so in the ES, so depending on account size, right? I usually don't risk more than 0.5% on any
order
trade.
Filled.
Sometimes it's 1/4%. So usually, if it's a 50K account, I'm going to risk probably no more than $250 on a trade. 100K account, it could be up to 500, and then so on, right? So usually it's percentage based. And
That's
then
a
as
way to
your
do
account
it.
balance
And
goes up and down, you have to scale it, right? So
yes.
we're seeing right at point of control today. Volume point.
Yep. Right at the session or the session point of control, volume point of control right now.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jack? How's your risk management? You have a percentage based, or is it based on the position?
Order
Level?
Trading my
filled.
own portfolio. Um, well, in my personal trading, I do mostly and things of that nature. And I am not so draconian as far as percents. I am, but it's sort of a ballpark because they're longer trades. You know,
Sure.
it's more like 5-10%. I just keep really a real close eye. I have it up right now, actually. What my options delta is on all my positions, and
Mm-hmm.
which is nice because you know if things are getting hairy. I'll be like, well, I'm not trying to options market make, but if it starts getting a little bit outside my bounds, then I'm like, well, time to hedge something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad.
So are you writing
Yep.
options, or are you yep? So you're
Order
selling options.
filled.
Yeah, like 98% of the time writing
Mm-hmm.
options, and then hedging with outrights and other options. The
Sure.
1%
Mm-hmm.
of time, I know I'm getting cocky when I try and buy options. I try to never buy them, and usually when I do that, one will I'll keep doing it until I'm back to zero because I'll buy one. I'm like, hey, that was a banger. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
wrong, and then do that. So I stick to the selling. I love
Nice.
hedging risk. You
Order
can you
filled.
can you can approach futures that way too, but
Sure. What's your favorite market?
what I've been doing for the past year or two is trying to find it's a little different in this market right now, but trying to find I'd say over exuberance in the call options, of which there
Mm-hmm.
has been a lot of. You'll see me frequently mentioning Carvana. I do have once again, no financial advice in this segment. None whatsoever. Got to make that clear. The reason I always like to sell options as opposed to buying them is because it's I feel like you're just giving up your edge. You're paying the edge, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel selling them. You're generally like on the other side of people's degenerate bets often, and
Sure.
so they tend to work
Order
out as long
filled.
as you can mitigate the risk elsewhere. So I've
Yep.
talked in the past about trading GameStop and stuff like that. I'm not YOLOing GameStop. Uh, the opposite. I'm kind of indifferent whether it goes up or down as long as it's not, $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, as long as you're able to hedge that option, it's can be a pretty good strategy, right? Especially for like income and stuff like that, short term options. You're doing short terms, right?
Depends. I'll play out too. It depends on what I'm trying to do. I don't want to.
Okay.
I'll tell you sometime off air. I don't want to like
Gotcha.
once again specifically with the financial advice stuff. Don't want to say a bunch of specific things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, options are fun. If you're gonna day trade, like I don't day trade options.
Gotcha.
Put
Yeah,
it
you
that
hold them for
way.
expiration. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I might be looking to put something on here. We're getting pretty close. I don't know.
We
Give me
got
a
the
second
pullback
here.
a
I'm
little
trying
bit
to.
here.
Yeah. We're getting a little bit of a pullback here. I think I am going to. Let me look at this.
Order filled.
might just give a crack at this here. 17.
You looking in the ES right now?
Yeah, I'm looking in the ES here. I'm gonna work to buy two here, Jack. Um,
Order
Actually, though, a little
filled.
bit more. I'm missing 6 points on each. It's about $600. A little more than I want to do, but these are two. This is for a combine account, so I'm gonna work in order to buy two, and we're gonna see how this works here. 1 second, I gotta set up my other accounts real quick, if you don't mind. Just give me a second. I gotta put some. Just gotta place
Yeah, no
orders for my other
worries.
stuff. Yeah.
It's the
Just give me
lunch
one
hour,
second.
man. People aren't eating. We can look at the market and do it.
Yeah. Next time we come on, we'll have to bring the martinis with us or whatever. What's your favorite beverage there, Jack?
Oh, yeah, probably the gin martini if we're gonna get
Okay.
down to business. But I gotta save that for Power Hour. I think I did last Friday after Dolby and I had been on air for 3 straight days.
Nice.
Short life, I like that.
I,
The naked puts on
Order
Tesla.
filled.
Yeah. Oof.
oof. If you're short puts on Tesla, man, oh my gosh, that's gonna be a rough one, especially if you didn't hedge it. Especially if you didn't hedge it. The Dow too, man. Dow is starting to get a little bit of a pullback.
You tricked me, motherfucker.
Flip the Dow.
Order filled.
Do you have any Dow traders still, or am I the last one?
You and Dolby are the last two.
Order filled.
We're grandfathering you in, or grandfathering you out,
Right.
I guess.
Order filled.
People like the Dow. Like
Order filled.
I know I give it a lot of shit, as it were, but I mean, it's fine to trade if that's what you want to do. I just think it's the silliest. I guess that's elitist. It's I see all these memes like it's the people's index. If you mention the S&P, you're some kind of like fop.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the nightly news,
I'll tell you why I'm stuck with the Dow, though. I mean, there's a story behind why I'm stuck with the Dow, right? So, obviously, I've been in the business since 2005, and there was a point in time where we would use the Dow as kind of like our leading indicator, and when the Dow would rally, say 100 points, and the ES would say up 2, for every 10 points the Dow would rally, the S&P would be dropped by a point. So when the Dow would outpace the S&Ps, like we get a quick run up in the Dow of 100 points, and we only move 2 in the ES, we would buy the ES real quick and look for that 8-point spread up, right? So we would capitalize on that momentum from the Dow pulling up the ES, and it worked for quite some time. I mean, it was a very, very it worked out for a while. So that's why I'm kind of stuck with the Dow, because I followed it for so long, kind of just got stuck trading it.
Yeah,
that's the story behind the Dow.
Well, a little bit more. Well, I'll tell you one more about the Dow. I've expressed my grievances with the Dow. Here's another one. This is a new one. All right. As those who've watched the show are aware, my main complaint and the most obvious with the Dow is that it is price weighted by share price for 30 companies, which means whereas the other things you trade, the normie indexes, i.e. the NASDAQ, S&P, Russell, any other indice besides friggin' Dow, is weighted by the market cap of the companies in it. So Nvidia and Apple are worth the most, and whatever number 499, which is, I don't know, like Massage King or whatever else. They're probably in the Russell, would be the last. So meanwhile, in the Dow, the heaviest weighted companies are like right now, I believe Goldman Sachs and United Healthcare and a few things. Well, Nvidia is 27th. Here's the other problem. When you look at charts and stuff like that, when they drop someone from the Dow or start dropping people from the Dow, they're taking out a random piece that's like, say, Walgreens, which they did, and putting in another thing with a different price, like Nvidia, and
Mm-hmm.
changing the composition radically. Whereas the companies that exit the S&P 500 are always the smallest companies in it. It's much more smooth. Like, I don't even know what you're looking at in the Dow.
Chart patterns. That's it.
Yeah.
Value. You know. But I do have a couple of my guys, a couple of my VIPs that they follow. So, like I was explaining how I was watching the Dow pulling up the S&P. So I guess they've been watching the SPY and the QQQ in a similar fashion. You know, seeing if those start outpacing the futures. I mean, I haven't looked at it personally myself yet. I'm definitely going to look at it and see what they're seeing. But have you looked at that, like the QQQ or the SPY, to see if it's front
What
running
would
the futures?
front running? I mean, that's is a pretty RB trade. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. One, it drives me crazy about
Yeah.
the triple Qs is that they have a completely different price. You know,
Yeah.
they're like 400 and something right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why can't you
You're
be like
watching the spider,
SPX?
right? Yeah.
I look at the SPX, but it's all going to show the same
SPX.
thing, basically.
Okay. Gotcha. Nice. I missed that
I'm gonna have to
that long.
I'm gonna have to
The
look
film.
up the history of how the QQQ got so out of whack with the.
Here, hold on one second. Apologize for that. And a quick message out there. All right.
Couldn't give us anything deeper. Are you in, Vince?
No, not yet. I missed the fill. I moved my entry up a tick here, but I missed the fill by a few ticks. We'll see. You know, it's very slow right now. Oh my goodness. Watch I say that now it's going to dump, right? Trump's going to come on, say something crazy, and we're going to go down back to the low of the day.
That would be
Has he been on today?
unplanned. Yeah, I mean, he was talking somewhere, and then 11, it says in my financial juice that he signed executive orders. Didn't hear too much there. And then when the market closes, Trump speaks at the DOJ.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it says. I don't really know beyond that. Any Trump whispers in there, let me know.
Yeah, I got to try to pull the chat up. I don't have the chat. All right, let's see. We're getting close here, Jack. We're getting close. And past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Futures trading involves risk. There's your little disclaimer there.
I feel like if we go to my screen real quick, Gabe, I'm gun shy right now because if we start selling off here, I think we may have already missed if I was going to take a long. Like what happened to me this morning. You know, first time this works, second time see ya. We already had the one sell off there. Second time it touches. Although I think this level, in the absence of other news, just above 5,600 could be sticky. The longer we go into the afternoon, I mean that's a huge strike price in the SPX.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some profiles here, and you know, there is there is a little bit of unfinished business on both sides. So we're gonna see what happens here. I mean, this thing could fill and blow me right out the water. We're at a really interesting spot where maybe we'll have failure, right? We're below this exponential moving average right now, but I'm going to take it, right? I'm going to take it, and we're going to see if it survives. If it doesn't, we look for a next opportunity. If it works out, you know, we're going to do pretty well. Let's see here.
I've been
Kind of
corrected,
close.
by the way. Trump is actually I can't read military time good. 1400 is 2:00. So during power
Oh no,
hour,
it's coming up. Okay.
Trump is speaking.
Central time?
Trump is speaking
2
to
Central?
Andre. Yes. Trump is speaking to Andre during
He's
power
speaking to
hour.
Andre.
It's going to be fun.
All right, let's see. We're getting close here. Mm.
Handle.
Let's see. Jack, you pull up goal real quick while we wait for this?
Yeah.
Just want to see what's going on there in the gold market real quick.
Nothing.
Is that the
Hanging around
200 day?
3,000.
Yeah, it's hanging around
That's
3,000, right? Yeah.
just the VWAP here.
Oh,
Let
okay,
me
the
go to
VWAP.
the
Okay.
day.
Just trading at the VWAP. Oh. They're happy with that price right now in gold.
That they are. Friday
Yeah.
afternoon, 3,000 gold.
I'm
going stir
I'll
crazy.
tell you though, if we didn't have Bitcoin and stuff, gold would probably be like 5,000 or better, I would think. Oh, we're filled, Jack. We're long. Let's get along, everybody. Don't try this at home.
Yeah. We don't mean actually get
Try it at
along,
home.
everybody.
No, don't get along. Don't listen to me. But we're going to see what happens here. We're going to risk 300 apiece. And actually, my target is going to be right up here at the top of this area. So we're going to risk 600 to try to make 3,000 right now.
I'm not even sure. Somebody in the chat, if you look this up right now, what is like the market cap of gold, if you could call it that?
Yeah, that's interesting to know, actually, Jack. I'd like to know that too.
It's like 20 trillion or something. I could be wrong on that.
Is it?
But like Bitcoin, for all the coverage it gets, I think is around 2 trillion or a little under it or something. So all of the Bitcoin, make sure I'm not speaking straight nonsense here. Been a long evening, Vince.
No, especially with the kids, Jack.
Oh, that's the reason for sure.
Yeah.
1.7 trillion is the market cap of Bitcoin. Okay, and gold is around 20. So let's call them 2 and 20. So the entire market cap of Bitcoin is about equal to the market cap of, say, Google. Pretty much exactly. Google's market cap is 2 trillion as well. So even if all that money was going there, I'm not sure how it would affect the prices, because there's a liquidity question with Bitcoin too. So many people are just holding forever. Same with gold, but interesting to think about.
Yeah,
Short
for
Life
sure.
tells me the triple Q's price comes from the NASDAQ 100 stock holdings. Net asset value.
Anybody catch that eclipse last night?
No, I didn't. I was fighting babies.
Yeah.
No, this
I
is my
actually caught
real
a little
hair,
bit of it.
man. It's just crazy. I've been pulling it out all night. That's why I usually wear the hat. I have a 3-year-old, and then I have twins that are 3 months old.
Oh, there you go. So you're really putting in the work.
I'm in the
Congrats,
trenches, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And in like 6 months, I'll agree with you. What is a blood moon?
Yeah, it had 2 names for it. They said the blood moon and the worm moon. I guess something about worms in the soil. I don't know, some weird stuff going on. But it did. It turned
Some
red. I watched it.
pagan
It turned
stuff.
red. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, it turned red at the 3 o'clock Eastern hour, which, the 3 o'clock hour is, the bad man's hour, supposedly, right? So, blood moon, 3 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know, man.
I'm with you.
Markets have been falling. What's going on?
Our pets' heads are falling off, Vince.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, someone who's not cursed by a blood moon, which is a bad segue. Up next, we got Top Quiz with Alex Ferreira is going to try and test his luck against some questions we have for them.
Nice.
That's probably the worst intro he's ever gotten. The man has a Olympic medal.
Yeah, that video is really inspiring too. At the end of the day, I love that video.
Yeah.
It's good for all the traders too, right? Never give up. You get a loss, you blow an account. It's just like getting injured, right? You get injured, you're an Olympic athlete. You go back, you fight every day to get back and better, and end up taking home a medal. So you could do this here in trading. If you blow up an account, pull up the bootstraps, get back to the basics, train, trade, reflect, and just keep it going.
Where'd you get in,
So
Vince?
I got in at 17 quarter.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll see here. Get a little pop, but we're going to be hitting this exponential moving average, which if we can't break above it, I might be a little concerned. But I would love to see this get up to around 30s. If we get to 30s, I'm probably going to go to break even on this, Jack, because if I have over 2 to 1 to trade, I don't want to give back and take a loss. It's kind of aggravating to me, when you're up like 2 to 1 and then it comes back and you lose money on it. So if I get up there, I'll probably protect my risk and let it ride. Excuse me. But get out there and push for me. Come on, you can use this trade.
Going into the weekend.
Yeah, I took a loss in gold, crude oil. It wasn't big. It was nine ticks on 2 lots, so 180. I'm down right now. That was the only trade of the day so far. So this could be decent if we can get some movement behind it. I wish Coach Jay was telling me about his volume right now. That'd be interesting to know. I'm not a big volume guy, so that would be pretty interesting to know, like, what's going on. You have people coming in here. Are they really buying this, or what are they doing? You follow volume, Jack, at all, or?
I keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
I usually have the volume profile open, just
Yeah,
sort of the basics. I don't have anything advanced on it. You want higher volume as it's going in your direction, honestly. But, it's Friday. We're petering out a little bit.
Lunch hour. Let's see. I put the volume on there. I don't know if this is the volume he's looking at, though, but we tapped that EMA right there at about 23 half, and kind of rejected a little bit. So that's my concern right there at that point. I would prefer the market have been above it to get long, but I want to be able to minimize my risk a little bit better. So we'll see what happens here. It'll be interesting.
Vince
Maybe
is
somebody can tell Trump.
Yeah, what do we do to tell Trump? What do we do to tell
tell
Trump?
him to say something bullish for me, please. Tell him to say, "Oh, okay, we just signed the peace treaty. Inflation is at 0.
Executive order.
No tariffs.
ES 6000. Let's
No
do
tariffs. Tariffs are off the table till next year, or at least till tomorrow, right? Tariffs are off the table till tomorrow, just till I get out of the trade. Actually, that's all I care about. I don't care about tomorrow. Let's do this right now. So, all right, let's see what we got going here. How the bonds looking, Jack?
It's a good question. I assume they're slow too. Let me fire up my bondies.
I'm curious to see like what the interest rates are doing right now.
Well, let's take a look. Share this tab instead.
Order filled.
Take a look at the 10-year. This is still out on the day, so it's not going to move much.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look in a little closer before we end here. Yeah, not a lot. We've been stuck right around this 4.3 here. I think I was saying this morning, it's similar to stocks. Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. Well, it's like spaghetti there.
It is of note, yeah, wiki spaghetti. It is of note that we had this decline in yields pretty significant as they go, or at least, sorry, I'm on the 15 minutes still. Let me go out some more. Let's go an hour. Here's what I was looking at. We had this pretty good decline in yields for a while. The Treasury Secretary and Trump kind of made it their point. They want the 10-year down. And we bottomed out. We nearly got to 4.1 in the 10-year. And then we've kind of been drifting up since then. We've been stuck around this 4.3 area for a bit. I don't have a strong directional bias in that right now.
Yeah. Do we still have an inverted yield curve, or is that straightened out?
That was the spot 10-year yield. That was in a different. That was in Trading View, which I think I can use for certain things that we don't have spot yields.
Right. Gotcha.
So that would be the inverse. If you see, if I go to the ZN right now, it'll just be the opposite of the chart I showed there. Price goes up. This is when the yields were going down. And then now look at this. Look at this.
Order filled.
Get Dolby in there. Flinging orders.
There you go. And a nice little range there, Dolby, if you're listening.
This is a patient person's market.
Order
Very
filled.
patient. Well, Vince, we got to go. We got Alex Ferreira coming in soon. Not that, you're an
Order
Olympian
filled.
in my heart. Coach of the market makers. Jack. You got a gold medal in technical analysis. Vince, always good talking to you. Glad to spend the lunch hour together.
Too, Jack.
All right, well, stick around.
It was a pleasure. I mean, I wish we had some more action here, but it is the lunch hour, so
can't make them move. But hey, you got to trade on a little bit in your favor as we head off here. Stick around. When we come back, presumably there will be some quiz questions. We'll have some fun. We have Alex Herrera in the house. Won't want to miss that. So stick around. This is TopStep TV. Enjoy your sandwich.
Right.
We'll be right back.
Order filled.
Took everything out.
Order filled.